This is the opening scene. When I talked about the curtains parting, and I think that was last year's Miss Americana, I remember that looked like Chet Yorton up on the stage. That was Bud Parker over there. There's the, I think we started and do it one more time. There's the Olympia crown. A little slow motion here just so it's not quite as quick. And these are all the folks, all oiled up, flags of the countries, and yeah, that is Chet Yorton holding. I don't know if that's the American flag, but this is the opening scene. And as you can well imagine, sitting in the audience and seeing this mass of muscle is just, there's all the trophies, just horrendous. When the fellow put the tape together, some of the stuff he panned of his own choosing, so I don't, oh, I'm sorry, it was Miss Americana with the American flag, and Chet probably had the flag of California, I'm going to guess. Anyways, we jump into the Miss Americana contest, and there was not even a remote attempt at any kind of physique or bodybuilding. This is strictly a beauty show, and that was the lady that won. And now we jump into the competitors. A lot of these names have slipped my mind, so bear with me for those that I don't remember. Let me just make this observation. As you're looking at these physiques, you might be thinking, you know, geez, we've certainly come a long ways, and we have. These guys were generated from situations where sometimes you had to drive. Wow, let me just jump in here. Alan Keene. Two fellows from New England, big names. Al Keene was one of them. John DeCola was the other. Amazingly enough, Al still has a used fitness equipment store right out here outside of Boston. I had no idea. It just said used stuff was the name of it, used fitness stuff. And I went in to see what they had, and on the wall they had a faint image, and I recognized because he's got one pose that is kind of his trademark, and I'm not sure if I'm going to see it here. But anyways, I said, gee, is that Al Keene? And they said, oh yeah, he's still going strong. He's got another place, and he lives down in Florida, but he runs this one up here. So some of the names are still hung around. I think this fellow was Tommy Abar. I think he was one, had a big chest, and you can see it right there. But what I wanted to comment was, with these physiques were generated from a lot of home gym probably, and if there was bodybuilding arenas, clubs, you know, they just, wow. Bear with me as I jump back and forth from my observations to who the individuals are. This is Bernie Booth. He was from Massachusetts, Springfield, Mass, trained at Ed Jubenville's place, and he came in third. I remember specifically, he came in third. You know, he epitomized the quality of the physique that we had back here in the East Coast. Certainly not a physique that you could snort at, but certainly not with the incredible bulk that some of the big names, even of that era, as well as certainly today's big names. But I tell you, the condition that I'm in right now, I'd give a lot to feel and look as good as this guy does. Anyways, gyms were hard to come by. I remember we had when I come home from my college, we could either go into Boston, and it was tedious to go into Boston and train at the Huntington YMCA, or we could drive all the way up to Gloucester. Either drive was, you know, it was going to be a 45-minute drive. Nowadays, there's probably a half a dozen health clubs in the city of Beverly alone that you could work out at. So my point for that was that these guys did pretty well considering the obstacles they had to overcome, and I think that came through so loud and clear on the bio of Dave Draper on E, when he talked about the dungeon and these kind of dank places. Oh, let me jump in again here. Zabo Kazuski in all his glory, looking good. He was in his 40s here. I don't remember what 40, but he was pretty good shape for his age, no question about that. Looked good, and he was one of those guys like Chuck Sipes, was always in shape. They just never got out of shape. They didn't peak because they were peaked 365 days a year. And personally, I hold a lot more, what's the word I want to say? I hold them in higher esteem that remain the same year out, rather than the guy that peaks, you know, not just for a day, but for a moment. I went to one, I won't use any names here, but I went to one. He was a former Olympia winner. He put on a bodybuilding show for us, and I'm sorry, he put on a seminar, and it was a good one. It was long, all day. And at the end, someone just hollered out, "How about some poses?" And he says, "Oh, this isn't a posing exhibition," but it was because he obviously didn't feel like he was in shape. And you know, I'm sure he peaked for the night of the Olympia show, but I admire. That's the word I was looking for. I have a lot more admiration for guys like Chuck Sipes and Zabel, and I think Dave Draper today looks like he's in shape every day. This is a guy, I want to say George Briscoe. Just as I look at these, some of these names just pop into my head. Now here's Chet Yorton. Remember, car accident, legs demolished, never walk again. Says that's not true. I'm going to come back. 2 steel pins in each thigh, and he built himself up. I think he won. Let's see. That night, Dave won the Mr. America in the first 1965. Dave won. So Chet must have come in. Maybe won second in his height class or whatever. But he looked good. He was a Muscle Beach boy. I remember when I was stationed in California, we were up in San Francisco. We took a drive down to just check out the gyms in LA, and this was 1969, and I did that. And oh, there's those calves, looking pretty good. Looking real good, as a matter of fact. No implants there, just some hell of a good-looking set of calves. So we took a drive down, and we went to Muscle Beach. Actually, it was not the same Muscle Beach. Oh, excuse me again. Joe Nestor, another man in his 40s, renowned because he was the one that would wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. If he didn't feel like sleeping, he'd go downstairs and work out. You know, you read some of this stuff in the magazines, and it just stays with you. It's incredible how they just made such an impression on me that's why it stays with me even today. He looked good. Here we go now. The blonde bomber, you know, slips in there allegedly. Never seen it verified, but with Bill Pearl's dynamite blue metallic posing trunks, and they sure just they just set off the whole package. The blonde hair, the great tan, and those blue trunks. He was magnificent that night. Just magnificent. All that we heard about was that he went out west and he was a little heavy and he ate nothing but tuna fish, and I've read some of his website articles today, and he still loves that tuna fish. It's amazing how you get into these habit patterns. And it certainly served him well then, and I guess it's serving him well today, because he was spectacular that night. I wanted to just say that there was 2 names that really brought the house down. One was Larry Scott, and the other one was Dave Draper. When they came out, the place just erupted. I don't know how many people the Brooklyn Academy of Music held, but it was, the noise level, had there been a noise meter or something, it would have broken the scale. It just thunderous. Couldn't get enough of them. This guy, remember, oh, now we're jumping. Remember I said we're going to jump to the awards and then back to the competitors. So this is when they were preparing to do the presentations of the different height classes. And everybody got a little trophy. Joe was good like that. He got everybody that competed got a trophy. And then some guys got bigger trophies. And then some guys got real big trophies. Joe did a good job on that. I want to give credit where it's due. I don't give much to him, but and this particular evening was just such a spectacular event. Showed a lot of foresight that the bodybuilding world deserved, you know, its own independent structure, and he had the visions and he did it. I remember talking to one fellow in New York that knew. Oh, look at these shots here. Look at that shot. That pec delt tie-in. I can never get. Oh, I'm sorry. What happened here, folks, was I was trying to capture that one shot, and some of these shots you'll recognize from the magazines right there. Look at that. Look at that pec delt tie-in. He and Jack Dillinger, nobody came close to the 2 of them. Just fabulous. Whoa. Anyways, this fellow knew Joe Weider when he was a nobody. He was trained